All right,
you
want to go to this 32 and 32?
We got a double edition of 32 and 32.
Yeah.
We had so much stuff coming off the preseason game the other day that we just did not have time to get to 32 and 32, so we will get into it today with a 2-pack, and it happens to be that both these guys are members of the Browns secondary. So we'll start with number 18, that is Martin Emerson, and number 17, Juan Thornhill. Jason, from what you've seen from these two guys, what you've heard in practice, how much of a step up? I'll start with Thornhill, then we'll go to Emerson, but how much of a step up has Thornhill brought in terms of like the leadership to this unit in this defense?
He's been an upgrade over JJ3, certainly. I think it's, and I don't know that John is really that bad of a player. I just think it's a better fit. I think Juan's a better fit for what's going on here. And just a veteran presence back there, understands what's expected of him. I thought Tyvis said it best a couple weeks ago about like, we don't need you until we need you, and when we need you, we really need you. And he understands that, where I think with JJ3 last year, when they needed him, he was on break. and that's what was so glaring in film. So I think that's what's going to be different this year. I don't think you're going to have those types of instances.
Obviously, in the last week, John Johnson has signed, and so did just signed yesterday the other safety that
Rodney Harrison.
Well, Johnson went back to the Rams, right?
Right.
Yes, but Rodney Harrison signed.
Yeah, Rodney Harrison.
Indianapolis.
With Indianapolis, thank you. I've complained mostly about this list, but I think you have these two guys in the perfect spot.
Did you ever do your list? I know you're supposed to, right?
Nope,
You're
never
gonna
did.
Do your own?
No, I forgot about it.
Coward.
No, I'll do it. I just forgot. Remind me, Mike. Send me a text, please, will you? I'll do it tonight.
Okay.
But I think you guys did a good job. I think these guys are perfectly placed. They're important players.
I would argue Emerson should be higher.
I think
he will be higher.
Yeah.
I think he is my DeJuan Jones to G. I think he is a star. Wow. I think he's a stud.
I think there's a lot of potential there. I agree.
I'm really high on Emerson.
Yeah. I think
really
everybody
high.
is. I mean, he played great last year.
Yeah.
My biggest concern in the secondary at this point is really Greg Newsome.
If that's our biggest concern, I think we're okay back there.
Yeah.
I do.
You said it. MJ Emerson, this is why there's levels to this. MJ Emerson took that position. That is his, like, that wasn't no debate.
That's exactly right.
That's his position. You see, hey, there's something to be said for dogs that when Philadelphia come around and when you playing good on good, the dogs be like, ain't no way in hell I'm missing practice. I want both of these reps.
Right.
I get to see A.J. Green. I get to see Devontae Smith. And Jalen Hurts.
A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown. You're right.
Yeah.
There you go. I want to see them. But guess what? Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome aren't out there now. Ain't gonna say they ain't gonna be good. They'll be fine. I'm not knocking you, but Emerson is different because he got a different mentality. Like, nah, I need good on good right here.
When they drafted Martin Emerson, he was not supposed to be the starting outside
At all.
cornerback.
No,
that was not the plan. And so I'm willing to give Greg a little bit of a break, because I think last year was such a transition year for him, and a lot was asked of him in terms of sacrifice,
Greg needs
in terms of ego.
Greg needs full focus on football.
I agree with that. But I just think
if that happens, he'll be fine.
I think last year being a little bit of a transition into a new role, and he had to eat some ego.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think there was some transition that went with that. And if he adjusts to it, like, I think he's obviously a talented player. This could be a really, really, really good secondary.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a whole lot. And I think, paired with the defensive front that we have, they're not going to be asked to cover guys for long, because I think we're going to see a lot more pressure from the up front unit this year than we did in years past. That, coupled with the fact that Jim Schwartz and his scheme likes to get up and get after it, and I think it's going to be a big, big, big year for this defense.
I think the Browns have the potential, and again, it's potential. Neither of these units has proven much yet.
No.
But to be top 5 defensive line.
Remember we said that last year, though?
Not defensive line.
No,
top
we
5
said defense.
secondary.
We said their defense last
Right.
year was top 5.
And
we did.
At some point, we were
Yes.
trying to talk ourselves into the fact that they could be the best defense in the league.
I thought they would have.
Sure
I thought
did.
they could have a top 5 secondary last year. They certainly did not.
They had a lot of hiccups.
I think that potential is still there, and I
Right.
think that now they have potential to be
Look
top
at the
5
talent
D-line.
that's back there. I mean, they're dripping with talent back
Yeah.
there.
They have 5 potential Pro Bowl caliber players in
Yeah.
the secondary.
I would
They
buy
really
that.
do.
Yeah.
They're all high. They're mostly high draft picks, right?
Yeah.
And they've all at times looked great.
And
now it's got to come
when
together.
you're playing the Bengals and now the Ravens, they've obviously upgraded their wide receiver position.
Yeah.
You need
Steelers have good wide receivers
You need
too.
5 corners that can get on guys and stay on them for
Yeah.
4 or 5 seconds, and I think they've got them.
So 3 things real quick. Jason, we're actually going to do at the end of the season. I know you mentioned Emerson will be higher at the end. when the final regular season's over, we're going to re-update this with the best players this year as opposed to the most important ones coming in and see where each one stacked up against each other.
Yeah.
We will do that. Bill Barnwell of ESPN last week came out with an article of guys set to make big jumps from 2022 to 2023. Martin Emerson was on his list of solid starters to Pro Bowl candidates. So not just us here in Cleveland, but on the national level, I think a lot of things are expected in a good way of Martin Emerson. And one thing stood out to me from joint practices yesterday. When they were doing the individual one-on-one drills, guess who went one-on-one with A.J. Brown each time A.J. Brown stepped up?
Really?
My guy.
Is it Emerson?
Yeah.
It was Emerson.
He got beat once, but he came back and knocked down a pass the very next play.
Yeah,
Didn't let him off the line.
1-1 split.
Very nice.
And by the way, Juan Thornhill is a much better match for this defense than JJ3. Last year I infamously told him that his name is Jonathan. We calling you by your government name. You don't get JJ3. And Juan Thornhill came out last game and looked like a creative player. He had the number 1 on. He had a shield. He had a towel. I'm like, this guy looks the part. But
I love that you rate the uniform.
Listen, he had everything working. He switched his number and everything. He was near the line of scrimmage. I saw him make a couple tackles, made the read, shoot downhill. I love it. I like him a lot better.
What I love about him is he comes with the ring. He comes with the cachet that a Super Bowl champion has when they walk into the room. It's just different. It is. When guys see that someone's here from a Super Bowl championship team, it automatically brings a level of respect that you can't get. Martin Emerson's a second-year guy. He's not going to have that.
Right.
But now they can all look to him. And Thornhill can say, too, by the way, when they get in shoving matches and push comes to shove, you're in fourth quarters of games, he's been there. He's won more than he's lost.
Yep.
And hopefully he'll be
say that about a lot of their
field.
players.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, before you do it, you've got to believe you can do it or have done it before.
Yeah.
And I think now in Thornhill they have a guy that is both. He believes he can, and he's done it before, and they can follow him.
I like the stylistic fit of Thornhill and Delpit as a safety tandem, too, because Delpit, to me, is more of a plant-your-foot, go-attack guy, and Thornhill's more the cerebral, make a play on the back end, as Jason said, that Tyvis said, you don't need me till you need me, and he seems smart enough to always be in the right spots when his guys also need him. So I'm excited to see how those two kind of pair up
Ronnie
as
Hickman,
safeties.
Ohio State guy. I like this guy. He's around
he flashed last week.
He's around the football. Now listen, I ain't gonna say he's gonna steal no positions, but I like him. He's around the football a lot. Ball skills. I like him.
He's here.
Yeah.
You think he's got a
Tyvis
spot?
is doing a breakdown of him tomorrow, by the way.
Good. I'm glad.
That's how I know he's good.
For years,
Tyvis breaking
the
him down.
Browns never drafted Buckeyes. It's almost like they intentionally avoided them. Meantime, they all went to Pittsburgh and had terrific careers. And
all of them.
Here, look at what they've done just this year. They've got 3 guys that they've brought in from Ohio State, and all of them seem to be flashing. Mm-hmm. And why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They've played
Only
big-time college football.
Right? Oh, no, Whippler was drafted too.
Yeah, he
Whippler's.
was 6th round.
He's been really good. Luke Whippler, 6th-round pick.
Yeah, 6th round.
And when Phil
Jones was
Savage was the GM, I was covering Ohio State at the time, and I saw him at the facility watching film and talking to coaches. So they do know where Columbus is.
Yeah.
And
They know how to
did
get
have
there.
relationships with
I
him.
just couldn't believe it.
It was so strange.
I went back a couple of years ago. I got pissed that I kept seeing the Ohio State stars go to Pittsburgh.
Cam
and kick
Hayward,
our ass every
Santonio
year.
Holmes.
Hayward. And so I went back and looked, and before it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. In their history, they'd only drafted like 5 Buckeyes. Yeah, I think Paul Warfield was the one that had the most success, but they took Tom Kuzno, who, I think by the career he had in college and what he did in the pros, he probably was a little bit of a
Didn't they
letdown.
draft Craig Powell?
That's who broke him.
And I think that did break him because I think that was they were like, you know what, we're good. And I remember in the 90s, the talent they were putting out, Joey Galloway, Sean Springs, Eddie George, obviously.
Terry Glenn.
But there was one after another, and Cleveland just kept saying, no, we're good.
Yep.
We took Rabisky.
In fairness,
They did take Rabisky.
They did take Rabisky.
Yeah, he
Craig
sucked.
Powell didn't break the machine.
Brian Rabisky.
Rabisky did.
Wasn't he like a second-round pick?
He was a high second
my
round
He
pick.
was a medium speed tight end.
He was slow.
Powell was a high pick, too.
In fairness,
Powell was a first round
Yes.
pick.
And
at
he
least
was
the Browns were good in the 80s and 90s, so you early 90s.
Right,
so
you couldn't kill him too much.
then.
But in the 90s and 2000s and 10s, watching these Buckeyes go to Pittsburgh and hold championship trophies was just
And the
driving
Browns
me bananas.
The Browns were just drafting everybody bad. I mean,
Everything they did.
Pretty much everything.
Did we talk Manziel? Did you guys ever do the Manziel
Oh,
review?
yeah.
We did, and actually Aditi is done, and she's setting up right now. So
great.
Give me 2 minutes to make sure she's all locked in, loaded. If you want to give us your 2 cents on the Manziel doc, we did a full review
Did you see
on,
it?
I think it was last Thursday, but